Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range podcast with Warhog Tactical and Kelly Defense. I'm your host, Mark Kelly from kellydefense.com. Wherever you are, thank you for making this part of your day. If you're joining, be sure to jump in the comments. If you're listening to the audio show, this was a live broadcast, so you're not going to get the audio visuals that we're going to accompany today's show. However, don't worry, it's going to be posted on all of our socials. So we'll mention those links throughout the show. But we hope everybody's having a fantastic Thursday. We're going to talk about a whole slew of things. The main focus is going to be on why I think the Democratic Party is totally scared. Totally scared. I think I know why it is, and they have a right to be. They 100% have a right to be, and they should be, and I'm going to explain why. But just going to touch some of the highlights of the stuff going on, considering the USAID and some of the Doge activities. And then we're going to move on. Unless something comes up, we're going to move on because I just want to hit the high points, and I want to just show you why I think things are going the way they're going for the Democratic Party. I know I mentioned Rick and I both did. Rick is out of town, by the way. He's on a training event, and we're going to have him join in, hopefully, on the next show remotely. However, he'll be back next week, and go ahead and check out all the amazing stuff that we have in the OTR universe. Be sure to swing by ontherangepodcast.com. Get all the audio shows right there and sign up for the newsletter, the email list, also warhog.com and kellydefense.com. Stay abreast. Like I said, if you're listening to the audio show and you weren't aware of the video show, that's how you can find out. Jump on those email lists and get after it. And like I said, tell us what you think about these time slots. We're kind of playing around with them a little bit, trying to figure out what works best for you. Be sure to go and like, subscribe, and comment to whatever you prefer the platform is. We're everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, and X. X is our newest endeavor. We're really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Go check out that page and subscribe and follow. A lot of fun. So you see some of these Democratic lawmakers just flying off the handle and saying all kinds of things because they do not like it. They do not like it one bit that the Doge went into the USAID, which is the United States Agency for International Development. Now, for those who aren't hugely familiar with it, it was created by JFK back in the day during the Cold War to help sway away these international developing countries away from being sympathetic to the communist parties. You know, if they swoop in, if China or Russia swoops in and starts doing all this humanitarian stuff, they're going to be sympathetic to them because they're helping them. So JFK, and I think it was a good move, not only for the humanitarian aspect, because we want to be involved in that. And I'm going to go over those things about why people are so upset, or they're trying to gaslight that anyway. But do these humanitarian things that we want to do, at the same time garner respect for the United States in those areas. That's what the main focus was. So, yes, it's humanitarian, but it's also strategic. Now, it was developed and created to be an executive branch. So it's 100% owned and ran by the executive branch, the president. And of course, the Secretary of State works for the president. But they're losing their minds because recently, and we got some clips coming up that are really, really telling and very entertaining at the same time, I got to tell you. Very entertaining. But the Doge started going through these things like they said they were. They're going to try to make the government more efficiency. That's their whole purpose. It's more like a contractor. They're not elected. They're working directly for the president and the executive branch. They're trying to, the Doge, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, trying to streamline, go through the books, do an overhaul audit of all of these bureaucracies. So they try to go in there. And take a look, peek around a little bit, and they were refused. So think about that. USAID refused to justify any of the programs and refuse to let them look at any of their books. Now imagine that. This is taxpayer dollars that are funding all this stuff, and you don't believe that you have to be transparent? They went so far, in fact, to say that we don't work at the behest of the American people's wishes. That's nuts. The American people are paying for it. So, of course, the Democratic Party and many of these lawmakers lose their minds, start screaming how disease and all these things and all these other underdeveloped countries are just going to be, people are going to start dying and all this is going to happen. Well, first of all, we don't know that's happening or going to happen because they won't let us see their stuff. Number two, they start screaming about, well, if they're going to do this, what's next? The Treasury Department, Social Security. Let's be clear. The president already said that he is not going after entitlements. Social Security and some of those other benefits like that are entitlements. They're not rights. They're entitlements, and he's not touching those. So amongst all this protesting and all these things, and it looked crazy that they were storming these buildings and being refused by DOJ and the USAD, the security guards were told by the president of the United States not to let these folks in here. It's amazing that they're not addressing one of the concerns that started to come out about the list of organizations or programs that are receiving this fund. The USAID, USAID, that agency has a between $50 and $70 billion budget. And they say we don't answer to the American people. Wrong. So Elon Musk sends in some of his people, and we're going to talk about them too, because they are being attacked as incompetent, creepy even. These are American people. These are American citizens, right? But they're not talking about the programs. That's weird. They're going to file all these injunctions. They're going to do this. They're going to stop them. They're going to do all these things. They're going to have hearings. I hope they have hearings. But I can tell you right now, the Democratic Party and these senators, they do not want these hearings because you and I both know that there's a lot of waste and some of it is crazy. We've all seen it come out. $20 million to start a Sesame Street program in Iran or Iraq, one of them. Probably Iraq. Can you believe that? $20 million to start a Sesame Street. There was another, I think $2 or $3 million to fund, or maybe it was $40,000 to fund transgender surgeries in Guatemala. There was another big lump sum of money that was going to Vietnam to help them and tell them, educate them not to burn trash. None of these things are in line with what the American people want their tax dollars to be spent on. None of them. Now, the humanitarian stuff, developing countries need, infrastructure for clean water and those kind of things. Of course, the American people are going to want that. And of course, those are going to continue. Marco Rubio already said it. Yeah, those things are going to continue. Those aren't going to stop. We're going to continue to help in a humanitarian sense around the world for people who need it. But this foreign aid for stuff like that, the DEI stuff, I think there was a workplace DEI program in Serbia. Those things are done. We got to take care of the American people in North Carolina, California, Maui. All those people are going to need to be taken care of. Before that stuff starts and they're all taken care of, then we can look at some other programs aside from big chunks of humanitarian stuff. But aside that, no. And the American people, you don't hear everybody complaining about that. You don't hear regular American folks complaining that the USAID is being audited. No one does. No one's complaining about that. And nobody's going to believe this rhetoric that they're going to stop the Social Security checks because it hasn't happened. It's gaslighting. So one thing that I want to say that truly disappointed me is how the USAID treated the DOJ folks when they went in there and how they reacted. I got a video. I want to show this real quick. I'm a little disappointed about that. So these are some things that we saw on the On the Range X cast page. Just type in On the Range podcast on X and check it out. It's a lot of fun. But take a listen to this real quick. Those who are on the audio side of the house, you're going to have to just listen. You'll be able to hear the audio. But check this out, this report from ABC News that was pushed back out by Fox News.
But Elon Musk's influence is sweeping throughout the administration. It was late last week that the Doge team showed up at USAID offices in Washington and demanded access. USAID employee Christina Dry described the scene.
Doge was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I felt would be incriminating. No one was talking. We heard they started taking transcripts automatically of all of our Google Meets. They unplugged the news in the little kitchen galleys. It didn't feel good. And then Saturday, all of the websites went down, and then I lost complete access to my computer.
Let me back this up. Listen to this right here.
Demanded access. USAID employee Christina Dry described the scene.
Doge was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I felt would be incriminating.
Why would she think that she had any materials that are incriminating? Maybe it's just a poor choice of words. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Incriminating. So she mentions the team meetings, all the documents. They froze the accounts so they couldn't get back in there. That's obvious to preserve evidence. And maybe evidence is a poor word, but to preserve the record of what they're doing over there in the USAID. Like I said, that might just be a poor choice of words, maybe. I don't know. Hey, Brian's on. Thanks for the comment, Brian. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just a poor choice of words of her. I don't think that I had no idea who this person is other than it says that she was a contractor for the USAID. So very interesting. Very interesting. But again, all these things that you're seeing on TV, and they're all Democrats. They're all from extremely blue states who have majority Democratic ran areas. You don't see anybody from Ohio. You don't see anybody from Kansas. You don't see anybody from Texas. You see Maryland, California, New Jersey, all these folks, Illinois, with this radical governors, mayors, legislators. And that's what they are, radical. Let's talk about the folks that showed up at the headquarters trying to demand that they could get in, and talking about how much they think that this is a breach of the executive branch's power, which, again, it's ran by the president. And they're focusing on Elon Musk. And I want to talk about that too. Let's listen to what Jamie Raskin has to say, because he's trying to sound, in my opinion, inflammatory, inciting response for sure, at the very least. So let's take a look at this.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people.
U.S. international aid development for the American people. Okay.
And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are.
Nobody said that Elon Musk has the power to do any of this. This is all going through the President of the United States. USAID is a department of the executive branch. So yes, he does. And besides, this was only a 90-day freeze. They don't mention that. And they'd like to use Elon Musk's name instead of Trump because they know that more than half the voters in this country, a large amount more than half, voted for Donald Trump. Let's continue.
We're going to stop him. Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury, but you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that.
Listen to that again, folks. Listen to that again.
American people. The United States Congress does that.
The United States Congress isn't control your money. That's their money, not your money, Elon Musk. He didn't say that's the American people's money. No. We control it. We control it. Now, they may vote on the budget, but once it leaves them and goes to that department, then they can spend it any way they want. And apparently that's what they were doing under the Biden administration. Well, they're not allowed to do that anymore. Let's continue.
Under Article 1 of the Constitution. And just like the president who is elected to something cannot impound the money of the people, we don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk. And that's going to become real clear.
So what Jamie Raskin here, the Democrat from Maryland, is trying to do, he's trying to say that somehow the president has empowered Elon Musk and he doesn't have the ability to do this. Elon Musk doesn't. Well, you're right. And Elon Musk doesn't have the power. He has the power of the president behind him. And it all gets washed through the president. It all gets washed through the president. And the president, in one of his briefings out of the Oval Office while he was signing executive orders, outlined that specifically. He goes, sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I don't. So what they're doing is they're trying to focus some attention away from the fact that Trump is doing this because they know that everybody believes, and I would say the majority of the country, whether they voted for him or not, believes, especially after this first 2.5 weeks, that the president has the United States interest at best at heart. At the forefront of everything. If this isn't good for America, then we're not doing it. So they're focusing on Elon Musk. Elon Musk doesn't have the power to do any of this stuff. He is the fact finder. He's the investigators. Him and his group. Now let's talk a little bit about AOC because she's on this too. Now, Rick and I have talked about AOC a lot. We understand. We believe she's formidable. She is formidable as the Democratic Party stands for right now. The Democratic Party is a disaster. We highlighted some of the stuff that the DNC chair forum was. If you haven't watched that, go to NBC. They broadcast it live. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. And then on top of this, people aren't dumb. I don't associate myself necessarily with the Republicans. However, I know that the Republicans believe that the American people are smart for the most part. They're allowing people to join in who were once heavy Democratic believers. They're welcoming. They believe in the American dream. They believe that security and all these things, efficiency, getting rid of wasteful spending, those things are all important. None of those people are saying any of those things, including the new chair members, the chairperson and vice chair. But AOC sounds very, very, when she doesn't go off and say some of the things that we're going to highlight here, very good. She doesn't freak out. She's very composed. The camera likes her. She doesn't mind being in front of it. So she's very formidable, but then she gets up there and she says some stuff like this. And there's got to be a reason, right? There's got to be a reason. I think I've nailed it down. Again, she's going to focus on Elon Musk again. They all are. And they're going to focus on something else because I purposely didn't show you another piece of Raskin's video, what he said in front of the USAID. But let's listen to our good friend AOC.
This dude is probably
talking about Musk,
one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. Which, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, like, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury.
Okay, that's true. That's true. The Doge does have young people, 19 to 22-year-olds, and we're going to highlight them then here in a second. But that first line from AOC, let's listen to that again. And tell me if you believe this, or anybody that you know or anybody you think you might know believes this.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
Witness is the same thing.
Which, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, like, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart.
Now, remember, who believes this? Who believes this? My man is snatching booster rockets out of the air. He is providing internet, satellite internet to every disaster area that will take it. All these things. My man shot a freaking Tesla up into space with an astronaut dummy in it for fun. He's the richest person in the world that this world has ever seen. And she's trying to say that you, the American people, should believe that he's dumb. Nobody believes that. Absolutely nobody believes that. Let's continue.
And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button.
Yes.
Inevitably.
Yes.
They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
Yes, that's exactly what the American people voted for. But let's go back. She uses the word. Do you know anybody other than someone who's against their agenda uses the same words as unintelligent, uninformed, doesn't do their homework in the same breath that they say the name Elon Musk? Folks, it's incredibly difficult to do some of the things that Elon Musk is doing. Incredibly difficult. If it was easy, anybody that had any kind of a space program would have already done it. But my man did it. And not only did he do it, some of these things that are incredible, he made it as efficient as it's ever been. The cheapest way of doing it and the most efficient way of doing it. The most times for success. It's absolutely unbelievable what he has been able to accomplish. Now, I want to kind of get back to the Doge and how quickly this is moving. And I think, like, again, it's not necessarily because they're so upset about the things that are being shut down, talking about the Democrats and some of these Congress people. It's not so much about that. I think what is coming, they never talk about the programs. They never talk about the appearance of impropriety. They never talk about it. What they're afraid of is not Elon Musk. They're afraid of the 19 to 22-year-olds. Let me explain. Let's put this on here. I put up a picture of a post from Elon Musk. Robert Sterling put this up, and if you can't see this because of the fact that you are watching or listening and not watching, do me a favor, go check this out. Go to Elon Musk page and look for it looks almost like a wanted poster is what it looks like, of 4 young men. Now, viewers, leave in the comments what you think. When I see this, here's what it says, the picture. Who are these little boys and why are they in charge of our money? Well, they're not really in charge. They're just doing an audit. Okay. I didn't vote for Elon Musk and his autistic tech bros to get a line and term veto of federal spending. Okay, so he's basically equating to that they have the power to do this. Let me tell you something, friends. If you're looking at this, leave in the comments, what's the first thing that you think when you see these young people? Put that in there and send it in the comments. I'm going to tell you what I think. But I had a person that I worked for a while, then worked alongside. Well-renowned in the tactical space. And after a while, had received some accolades and some recognition for some stuff. And to be 100% fair, moved the space that I was in forward by way of equipment, by way of training, and did a lot of good things. I can never take that away. And I got a lot of opportunities from this person. But the first thing I think of when I think of this man is how often they would be dismissive of ideas, especially from younger people or someone who wasn't from the same background, which I thought was very foolish. Very foolish. The first thing I see when I look at this picture is these are closers. These are closers. You don't think they look intimidating? You better be terrified. Terrified in a good way for the folks who are doing bad things or not being careful with your money. I had a person that worked for me that was a whiz, hadn't been on the department very long, but was a whiz at some technical things that would turn a piece of intel that I didn't think was actionable and I didn't feel great about, give him a task, hey, look into this for me. And they would come back with some things that made it actionable. And not only making it actionable, making it so actionable that it was sellable to whoever I needed to. And he was consistent and did a lot. Hated to see that person go, but they elevated quickly, and you can understand why. So again, during Jamie Raskin's speech, he had mentioned the 19 to 22-year-olds and said, I don't like creepy 19 and 22-year-olds. Again, attacking them to make them seem unqualified, unimportant, have no business doing what they're doing, right? I think they're fools. I think they're fools if they believe that, but I can tell you right now, they do not. They do not believe that. They are afraid of these folks. And they say some stuff like experience, because they're young, right? Experience and unqualified. They don't understand these systems. And we're going to outline one of them right now for you, the listeners and the viewers. And you tell me what you think. But before that, make sure let me just hit this one more time, because if you like this content, you like what we're talking about, and you're all about the training stuff, Rick and I, hey, we do pretty good at that stuff. Rick's down in Florida right now giving away some free law enforcement training this weekend. Go to warhog.com and check that out. But if you like this kind of content and you want more of it, exclusive content, go to ontheRangePodcast.com and check out the crew membership. They got swag. I'm wearing the crew member hat right now. Have all kinds of stuff on there for you. But we also have some great exclusive content. If you sign, you can try it for free. You can try the all access package for 2 weeks for free and see if you enjoy all the additional content. But if you go on one of our tiers, which are very, very small entry fees, you can get access to our training catalogs and everything else. So go check it out. If you like this content and you want some exclusive content, go check out the crew membership at ontheRangePodcast.com. Join the crew. Let's go ahead and jump in and show you something. This is one of the folks that Jamie Raskin and AOC think that they're creepy, unqualified, have no business. You know, they don't understand these systems. Let's go ahead and check this out.
So I've always been interested in history. Growing up, I learned Latin. I was never that good at it, but I was always kind of into that sort of stuff, read a lot about the Roman Empire and things. And one day I was just listening to a podcast back in March. It was with Nat Friedman. He just kind of got on the podcast, explained like there are these burnt up scrolls that were buried in the Pompeii eruption. No one knows how to read them. But some professors have created CT scans of these scrolls, and they uploaded the data on the internet as a competition to see who could find writing inside of these scrolls. And when I heard that, I was just immediately like, oh my goodness, this is such a cool project.
Yeah. They have every reason, the Democrats and those who are working there who have been spending our money wastefully have every reason in the world to be afraid, and they should be. I don't look at this kid and see a weird, unexperienced. You know what I see? I see a savage. I see a savage. So what he's talking about. If you're unable to watch this and you're listening, make sure you go back and try to watch it and see this impressive young person. He's talking about 2,000 years ago. I think it was AD. I think it was, first century AD. In Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius erupts. Roman Empire, right? And these are scrolls recovered from that area. And there's a project where they're trying to read them. Everybody's wanted to read them. So some other folks made some CT scans, and now they pushed this out as a project. Here we go.
I have to work on this. I just went home from work that day at the end of the day, and I've been working on it evenings and weekends ever since. I run most of the things from my laptop. It's just a normal MacBook, don't worry. But then I've just got on the back of his, 5 surplus computers in here. This is what I do most of my work from.
So he's a computer science kid from
the
Nebraska.
University of Nebraska as a whole has provided a great educational background where I can then, take these skills that I've learned and apply them to problems like this. I just spend hours upon hours staring at flattened pieces of the scroll like this, trying to find these patterns, which are part of the writing. At the start of the challenge, we had not been able to find any writing at all within these scrolls. There are hundreds of these scrolls that are from the mansion. We've scanned a couple of them, and no one had been able to find any writing in them using these methods. Late one Saturday night, I was sitting at a party at a friend's house in Omaha, and I get a text from another person on the challenge team, and he says, "Hey, I've just uploaded this new kind of piece of the scroll. You should take a look at it." I remotely access my computer. I type into it like, "Please run the algorithm on this new piece of scroll." And then I just kind of started. I pull out my phone again, just nonchalantly, like, "Hey, I wonder how that went." And there are 3 Greek letters on the screen.
So let me stop it right there. It took me about 0.75 seconds to realize that this kid, young man, is brilliant. Not only is he brilliant, he understands all things computer and how to apply them to all kinds of different things. And you're trying to tell me, AOC, that this young man is not, by the way, this kid is wearing a SpaceX t-shirt, that this young man is unable to understand the money ledger of the USAID? I disagree. And another thing too, about someone who participates in this type of project, in this type of work, he's going to understand how to work with others, how to bring in someone with a certain level of expertise on a certain thing that he may not have to get him a piece of evidence that he can examine. That's huge. And that's exactly what Elon Musk is and does with SpaceX and everybody else. He can't do all these things on his own. And another piece about that, about my former colleague, there's no ego in this. It's only coming up with the best product. The more correct you can be and more precise you can be with every one of these levels. And that may not be my expertise, so I reach out to somebody. Amazing. 2,000-year-old scrolls. Let's continue.
Letters I'd never seen before. It was really cool because it's like, oh my goodness, like we actually detected new writing in the scrolls using AI. That was the moment I realized like this is actually going to work. Like we're probably going to read the scrolls. And I completely freaked out. My friends were there and I was cheering, jumping up and down, screaming, crying, all the stuff. I, took a picture of the results and I sent them to my mom. She called me and she's like, "Hey, these look great." It was a really special moment. Yeah, so this is the word that I actually found. It's right here. It's the word porphyros, which translates to purple. It's the first word we found in the scrolls. It was reviewed by a committee of kind of Greek scholars, but it's the word purple. And I'm glad it's not the word in or the or and that we found first. We actually found a word that has meaning. This would not be possible.
A word that has meaning. That, you know, purple was wealth and power back in the day because of how difficult it was, you know, in ancient times to make it. But so he knew that right away too, because he's brilliant. He's well read, learned Latin for fun. Again, this is the scroll work that they turned in, and he ended up winning. So 2,000-year-old scroll that was recovered from an area that was destroyed 2,000 years ago by a volcano. And he was able to not only mess around with the computer enough to get to a position to be able to read it, but he read it. And people have been wanting to read these things for a couple thousand years. And he knew how that purple is important. It is significant. Like you said, this is a significant word. And that's why it was even mentioned in a scroll from that time period. So again, I don't think this is creepy. I don't think this young man is anything but impressive. And a rational person, even those who hate Trump, they want efficiency. They want their money going to things that benefit the American people, at least work in our interest. So this is a weird hill to die on if you're the Democrats, unless these whiz kids are going to go in there and it's not stopping. They're going to do this line by line to everyone they feel needs to be audited. And like I said, when I look at that list, that wanted poster that old Mr. Sterling put on, bro, that's what they want you to believe. This young man is a savage. He's a closer, and you do not want that person going through any of your computer stuff, any of your numbers with a fine-tooth comb. That's what they're afraid of. That's what they're scared of. And they should be. Absolutely 100% should be. Now, all these things are not going to get scrubbed, so don't let anybody tell you that. Those entitlements, like Social Security and those things, they're not going away. Even the humanitarian aid from USAID is only frozen for 90 days, and then it's going to be changed. It should be in charge. The person in charge of it should be the State Department, so that it's in line with what we're trying to do. We don't need to be paying for Sesame Street in Iran or Iraq, wherever it was. We don't need to be paying for trans surgeries in Guatemala. Don't need to be doing it. They spent $27 million on gift bags for those who were leaving the country being deported from us, by us. We're giving them a bunch of gift bags and stuff. $27 million. And here's another thing. Do you really believe that all that money is going to all that stuff? It's not happening. It's not happening. I believe that these kids are going to find that not only is this some kind of a slush fund, but they're going to find out where it went. They're going to find out where it went. Now, here's one more thing that came up over the last 24 hours. Politico, a left-leaning news organization journalist. Now, look, some of them, probably quite a few of them, are legitimate journalists. However, the USAID is subsidizing their subscriptions. So if they don't hit their mark on subscriptions, they get a check, like $8 million. Oh, I know what you're saying, Mark. That we until we know exactly where it came from, and we can't say, okay, that's true. But it does seem weird that they didn't pay their folks after USAID was shut down. That's just a weird coincidence. So we'll see. Occam's razor, the most likely. In all the madness, if you pull out the most likely evidence and come up to the most likely conclusion, usually that's it. So anyway, I think they're terrified, and they should be. Oh, Barbie's on there jumping and giving us some comments. I'm on Social Security and Medicare, and the only ones I worry about taking money from are the Democrats. So true. So true, right? They're the ones who have robbed us for years, and they keep it up. And you're right. They're not even talking about the lack of spending. And here's another thing too. All those things that people are worried about would go away that are in line with the United States and that benefit the American people. Those things aren't going to go away. You get rid of this waste. I mean, look, Americans don't care if they got to pay 10 more cents a pound for some bananas or an avocado. They don't care. Just like anybody else, they want good value for the money. They want good value for the money. We will pay handsomely for things that we believe in or the things that we want for those we care about. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, folks. Great comment, Barbie. Love her and all her family. Miss them. But Brian, great comments. All those who jumped in the comments, really appreciate it. Hey, let us know what you think about these time slots. I'm telling you, AOC is formidable. Every now and then, though, she has a gaffe and she says something like this. Nobody in the world believes that Elon Musk is dumb. And they don't want you going out looking for alternate news sources. They want you to think that there's a bunch of creepy kids out there going through your money that you're not going to get. That's not true. These are solid young people who are really good at what they do. And they're going to find out what's going on. I guarantee it. Like I said, those young men are savages. And I'm sure there's a bunch of them that are coming through there. And they just do it because that's what they do. And they're going to find everything that we need to find. Anyway, make sure you go to ontherangepodcast.com. Check out the swag. Check out the crew membership. Go to warhog.com and kellydefense.com. All these links are in the descriptions. Click on those and go check them out. As always, this show is brought to you by the Firearms Training Notebook. Just like anything else in life, you got to have a plan, right? You got to have a plan when it comes to your dry fire, your live fire. We're talking about efficiency with the US AID. You got to be efficient with your training because we all have busy lives. The Firearms Training Notebook is going to do that for you. Make sure you go out there and check it out at the website. Click the link, purchase, have it come right to your house, and immediately start seeing your progression. Track all those tangibles and become a better marksman much quicker than you would if you didn't have a plan. So anyway, if you're listening to this on audio, make sure you go and check out On the Range Podcast at Facebook and YouTube, and go to On the Range Cast on X and watch these live shows. But if you enjoy the audio shows, go to ontherangepodcast.com and catch up on all the past episodes. Anyway, be safe. Have a great rest of your week, and be sure to check out all the websites in the description, and like, subscribe, and follow. Be safe and have a great rest